Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Protecting the Vision, sponsored by the National Optometric Foundation. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown. I am a National Optometric Foundation board member, and I will be your host for today. And we'll have a wonderful guest speaker who will be joining me shortly. I just want to tell you a little bit about who the National Optometric Foundation is. We are a nonprofit organization, and we support the National Optometric Association in various ways, supporting them as being their financial arm. We are also there to support young minds, those who are in optometry school. Maybe you're thinking about going to optometry school, they're in high school. Thanks to our sponsors and our donors, we're able to provide scholarships, travel grants to students to join us at conferences that we have each year. And we're able to team with businesses and companies, and we get doctors and techs and students together, and we do free eye exams each year at the National Optometric Association conference. Wherever we go throughout the USA, we provide vision care to the communities, underrepresented minority communities. And we're often trying to do our best to educate churches, schools, organizations about the three silent killers of your vision: glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, and hypertensive retinopathy. Our goal is always to preserve vision. We are trying to encourage people to get an eye exam. Don't delay. Do it today. We want to encourage you, if you're listening to this today, maybe you'll catch this video later. Make sure you schedule your eye exam with a local optometrist so that they can check the health of your eyes. You may be walking around saying, hey, I can see fine. Get the health of your eyes checked so we can make sure that we are protecting your vision. And as always, we thank you for tuning in. We ask that you go ahead and grab your favorite drink, maybe get some popcorn and sit back and relax as we hear from our great guest speaker, Ms. Joanna Lowe. I want to tell you a little bit about this awesome guest speaker that you're going to hear from tonight as she's sharing her wisdom with us and her journey. Also, she is a successful entrepreneur in the field of real estate. That's right, real estate. She's been investing in real estate since 2012, and she decided to take her financial future into her own hands. That's right. She purchased, she renovated, she sold many properties in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Her specialties include wholesaling, rehabbing, buying, and holding investments, and creative financing and goal setting. She's a licensed real estate agent and broker in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. She graduated from Fayetteville State University with a bachelor's degree in biology, and that prepared Joanna for her former successful career of 14 years as a high school biology teacher in North Carolina and Virginia. She's taught all levels of biology within the secondary setting. Teaching is and will always be both her passion and her gift. But Joanna continues to use her gift of teaching to share her knowledge of real estate with new and accomplished investors throughout the United States and Canada. She uses her experience and knowledge to empower her very large family in areas of investing and entrepreneurship. In Joanna's spare time, she volunteers with various charities to support the homeless, and she speaks at various functions nationally. However, family is her number one priority. Joanna has two beautiful and talented daughters named Madison and Reagan, and as well as a perfect granddaughter, Winnie Rose. Joanna, it seems like you got your hands full, but we are so thankful for all the things that you are doing and continue to do, and we want to welcome you to the show. We are so excited about what you have to share with our listening audience there. So welcome to the show, Joanna Lowe, and we look forward to hearing from you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm feeling fantastic. You know, sometimes on Mondays, it's a little more challenging to get started, but I'm feeling really good, and I'm excited to be here on the webinar with you today and all that you're going to share with our listening audience. I hope that your day has been great.
It's been a Monday.
It's been a Monday. And not only is it Monday, this whole month we have been raising awareness. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we know that breast cancer is something that has affected so many people, and we know that it continues to affect a lot of people. And I know that you have some insight to share with us and also to share your journey that you've had with breast cancer as well there too. So I want to just go ahead and jump right on into the webinar because our audience, they've heard that you're going to share tonight. They're excited to hear from you. I had some people texting me, say, hey, are you guys going to be on? I'm like, yeah, we're going to still be on. She's still coming. So she's going to share about her journey. And we want to know how it shaped your perspective, Joanna, when it comes to life and when it comes to health, your journey with breast cancer.
Oh, wow. Well, it definitely changed it quite a bit. Before I get into that, I do want to thank you for having me. Thanking you for this platform during this very special month. I'm very, very happy to still be here, to still be in the land of the living, and to share with your audience about my journey, breast cancer, and so on. So, breast cancer, my journey started actually about 2013. I started having some issues with my breasts, with my nipples specifically. And I kept complaining to the doctor about it. And they would look at it and they would say, oh, it's nothing. You're probably rubbing up against something. And this went on for years. And then in 2017, I went to the doctor again about it because my nipple was like scabbing up and then it would like open and have secretions, but I wasn't breastfeeding. So I knew
Okay.
that wasn't the issue. And
Was
so,
there any pain?
yes, there was pain.
There was
Mhm.
pain. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
But not an internal pain, just like topical pain.
Okay. Okay.
So in 2017, when I went to the doctor, this time in Charlotte, I'd been in Richmond the whole time. This time I went in Charlotte, and the doctor said, okay, well, you have Paget's disease, and here's some steroid that should take care of it. So I used a steroid. It did not get better. I did not do any research on Paget's disease. Paget's disease is actually cancer. And all he gave me was steroids to take for that cancer. So the steroids didn't work. And so I just went on. Then COVID hit in 2020. And right after COVID hit, I noticed a lump under my arm, under my armpit. But it was COVID time. No one wanted to go to the doctor. No one wanted to go anywhere. And I thought, well, the lymph nodes are just doing what they're supposed to do. When you're sick or something, the lymph nodes will swell and try to get rid of the trash for you. So I didn't think of anything of it. It wasn't painful and it just felt like a swollen lymph node. But it lasted until September when I finally went to the doctor. So from March to September, I had this lump. It wasn't getting any bigger. And it wasn't painful, so I didn't think anything of it. I just happened to be going for my regular checkup, and I told the doctor, I was like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, I have this lump under my arm. I think it's just a swollen lymph node. My body's probably trying to get rid of something. I'm self-diagnosing." And immediately she sent me over to have a mammogram.
Wow. She sent you.
She sent me, and
You
she
went
was.
from a he to a she.
I
Okay.
actually started with a she.
Okay.
And all of my previous doctors were not African American. My last doctor was African, the
Okay.
the primary care physician, not even a
Mhm.
specialist. Just
Wow.
my primary care physician sent me to have a mammogram. I had actually had a mammogram prior when I was having these issues. They didn't find anything, but
Okay.
now that I had the lump, she sent me right away, same day, to go get a mammogram. And and on September 11th, 2020, I was diagnosed with HER2 cancer.
Wow. That that feeling that you had when that diagnosis came through. We want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so um, it's very. I understand that this is their regular day. They do this all the time, but they were very cold when they told me. The nurse practitioner came in and she told me, and she talked for 30 minutes, starting with your results came back and you have cancer and this and that and blah blah blah. She did not even take a breath. She didn't give me a chance to process it. before she was scheduling me to go for surgery, to go for chemo, and 30 minutes had gone by, and I'm just sitting there stunned, like this can't be. This can't be real.
And Joanna, were
Hmm.
you at that appointment by yourself?
I was by myself, yes.
There's reason why I ask these questions is because sometimes people find themselves in the same position,
Mhm.
sitting in a room alone with a physician who they feel has all the authority to do all the talking, and but they're also looking for compassion, from that physician. And you're sharing your journey because someone else may be listening to this and they're like, wow, I went through that same thing. So as you're sharing your journey, maybe you can also tell us how you're coming through that as well there. But that's the reason why I ask you if you're in there along there. So, but you can go ahead and continue there. I'm just trying to paint the picture for our listening audience there. How you are or how you felt in that moment there. I'm sorry that you had to experience that, but your experience is turning into a positive because you're sharing your story and you get to talk about this to help others who may be in that same pathway.
Yes. So there was no actual genuine compassion when she was telling me. Not that she didn't care. She's just done this a million times. So it while she might have thought she was being compassionate and she said some things, but you didn't feel the things. You didn't feel the compassion. It might have been I'm so sorry, I know this is a lot. There was no pause for
Mhm.
you to absorb that. It just went right into the next thing. And so I'm just sitting there stunned and she's planning all of these things and I just said, "Stop. Just wait. I need to process this. I'm not ready to do all of these things." I mean, immediately they wanted to put me in chemo. Immediately they wanted to cut me open. And I just said, I'm not ready to do these. I'm not even sure that I'm going to do these.
Right,
So
right.
in my life at that point in my life, it was a very good I was in a pretty good place. So prior to that, I had with my last child, my kidneys failed while I was pregnant. And at that point, when I was pregnant with her, this was years before that, the doctor told me that I needed to have an abortion, that one of us wasn't going to make it. So it wasn't my first time like facing death,
Mhm. Right.
but I'd gotten through that. No, my kidneys did not recover. They actually got worse, but I felt fine. And I still feel fine. But
Good.
at that moment, I was going through a divorce. I had just finished a divorce actually. I just wrapped up a divorce and I was on the upswing. I was like, God, why now? Why
It's
now?
it's it's a lot. It's a lot for you to process there. You're going through all of these different challenges there, and I can only imagine that was extra stress onto your life there.
It was
Uh,
an
but
extra
you
stress at a
but
good.
you made it through that. Go ahead.
I made it through. I made it through. So what how that shaped my perspective on life. Uh Life is short, but at that time life became shorter because I'd already faced it. So I already knew life was short, but now life is really short and life is unfair. I definitely felt like this was unfair, that I'd already been through so much. And so why now? Why me? Life is unpredictable. I would have never thought cancer. In my family, no one else had breast cancer. I am the youngest of 28 kids. If this was something that ran in my family, somebody else would have had it. No one else had kidney failure, the kind of kidney failure that I have. So life is unpredictable. And I also realize life is a gift.
Yes, it
And
is.
so as I took the time to process my diagnosis and my options for care and my options to not do anything, I realized that life is a gift. And from that point, I chose to live. It took me 3 months where they wanted to go into surgery the next week. They wanted to start chemo the next week. It took me 3 months before I decided to do anything at all because I really just come to the conclusion, well, I was coming to the conclusion that I feel fine. I've been living with this cancer for about 7 years now, and I feel fine. So why not just continue to feel fine? Because I know with chemo, I'm not going to feel fine. I'm not going to feel good, and I may not live. So for 3 months, I was debating to do treatment or not to do treatment. And I took my time to make that decision, and I'm glad that I did. Of course,
Okay.
the doctors and they were all upset about it and wanted to force me to do something that I wasn't ready to do or wasn't comfortable doing.
Right.
But I did take my time to do that.
Wow. That's a big choice. That's
Mhm.
a big decision. And I'm glad that you took time to process things. You know, sometimes life throws us those curveballs and we feel like we have to hurry and make a fast decision, and sometimes that decision may not be the best choice for us, but I'm glad that you took that time to process things. You know, if you had to grieve, that you took time to do that as well. You know, whatever you had to do for you. You know, too often we don't make that time for us. You know, we when it comes to us, it's quick, 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 or we put off, you know, until later. When it comes to others, we process things. We make the best choices when it comes to others, and we need to start doing that for ourselves. So uh,
Mhm.
I want to congratulate you
Thank you.
also for being a part of the millions of survivors in the United States there over 4 million survivors, whether they're still being treated or not, they're here and they're here. And I want to encourage you, if you're a survivor, don't keep your story to yourself. That's power. And we want you to use that power to empower others. So if you're listening to this, this is your confirmation to use your story. Tell your story. Let the public hear your story so they too can be empowered, as Joanna's sharing her story. Now, tell me, Joanna, with these challenges, do you feel that as a woman, as a Black woman, that you encounter any specific challenges during your breast cancer diagnosis and treatment there?
Mhm. Absolutely. I've definitely with it going undiagnosed for so long, and I kept telling them, the issues that I was having. That was a disservice to me. And then the misdiagnosis that I had Paget's disease was another disservice to me, but most importantly, the treatment of Paget's disease, which is cancer, with a steroid that did not work. And even when it didn't work, and I came back and I told them that it didn't work, there was nothing else for me. There were no solutions for me. So, as a Black woman, I felt unheard, and I felt I don't know. I just didn't feel like I received quality treatment until I had treatment from someone that looked like me. And then she took me seriously. She heard what I said.
Right. And we encourage our colleagues, physicians, to take a step back and listen. You know, too often we do a lot of talking and not enough listening. You know, patients need to be able to tell us things. Part of the history taking when I'm teaching new staff here at Insight Family Eye Care is part of listening. Let the patient talk and give you their history. Don't try to pull it from them. Give them the opportunity to be able to tell us what's going on with them and tell us what their concerns are. And because you express your concerns and then the physician in return listen, we were able to find help for you there. So that's what it's all about. It should be a two-way communication there. The patient to the physician, having a conversation, coming together. That's a relationship there. And I'm glad that that's part of your story that you are able to share with us today there as well. And I know that you're going to share some recommendations with our listening audience. But before we get in there, I just want to know, how did your breast cancer experience influence your understanding of health? And including, since we are optometry as well, your eye care. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I definitely learned from experience. I mean, I'm a biology major, so I know plenty of how the body works. But
Yes.
from experience in your own body, you really you really gain a great understanding that health is comprehensive. You know, one system affects the other. All of them affect each
Yeah.
other. I did leave knowing that the mind rules all of the systems. So I made sure that I was in a positive mindset throughout the entire journey. The people,
Stop
the
right there. You're speaking my language. I'm sorry I had to stop you there. You said positive mindset. I talk to people all the time. You may not know, I'm Mr. Positivity wherever I go, on social media, wherever. Keeping a positive mindset, starting your day out with a positive thought. I tell people this, I teach this, I talk about this on stage. And to hear you say it, I just had to pause and highlight that moment there. So you go right ahead, but I had to take that moment to say good job on you for mentioning that positive mindset.
thank you. So yeah, as even though I was treating the breast, treating the cancer, the rest of my body was suffering from the chemo. I mean, I and that was part of the reason why I took the time I needed to decide if I wanted to, because I knew exactly what chemo would do to the body. The same thing that is meant to kill you with these chemo treatments is meant to heal you. And as I'm healing one part or trying to heal one part, the other parts are failing because I'm trying to kill that one little thing that's in my armpit, that's in my breast, and it's killing off everything else. So, specifically for the eyes, it was most people lose their hair during chemo. I lost all hair throughout my entire body, including my eyelashes, which I always thought were so lovely. And I always got compliments. And I just took it as something, vain, something of beauty, and not considering their function. So my eyesight, my vision was harmed during the chemo. So I didn't have any eyelashes, so things would get in my eyes very easily. My eyes were very dry, either from the chemicals in my body drying it out, or and the chemo is meant to kill all fast reproducing cells, which is why you lose your hair. So I don't know if there are cells in the eye that would be reproducing to provide the covering or the secretions in my eye. But my eyes were very blurry, and I found myself blinking all the time or rubbing my eyes trying to get a clear vision. And eventually, I had to get me some readers.
All right. Those are cute.
Thanks to the Dollar Tree. Well, my best friend is an optometrist, and I kept telling him, what was going on with my eyes. I was like, but when I blink, it clears up. So I'm just going to keep blinking, because I was like, no way do I not have 20/20 vision. I've always had 20/20 vision of all the things that could go wrong, not this. And so he finally encouraged me, just pick up some readers and see if that helps. And that did the trick.
Yay. Shout out to that good friend. Go ahead and mention his name. Give him a shout out. I know he's watching.
Yes, Dr. Andre Whitehead, my
All
bestie.
right. Yay. Past president of the National Optometric Foundation, Dr. Whitehead. Shout out to you, my brother. But that's good. That is good. So I'm glad that you learned along the course of your journey with that. I'm glad that you had some positives that you were able to take away from this journey, and I would love to know from your experience, and kudos to you as well. Biology major, that's a challenging degree to capture as well there too. I'm biology major as well, so but and then thank you for then taking that knowledge and teaching it in high schools there on all levels for 14 years. That's an amazing thing that you have done there, and I'm sure that you've impacted a lot of lives during those 14 years, and you continue to impact lives because you're now taking your other gift and teaching people, about entrepreneurship and real estate and everything, so you're just full of what you should be doing. You're doing all the things you should be doing, using your talents and your gifts while you're still above the ground. And I appreciate you for doing that. And I like to pause and give appreciation there. I always tell people, if you had good service at a restaurant, call the manager over and tell them about that worker that provided good service. So I wanted to pause for a moment in this webinar and thank you for your service that you've done in biology, entrepreneurship, and real estate there. Thank you so much for helping families connect to homes. Individuals get their first home or a first apartment or condo. You're doing so many great things and still balancing work life, spending times with Madison and Reagan and Winnie Rose, I think the name was there. So that's fantastic. And I love that. I love this story. And I knew from the beginning that this story would be something special there, and it is. And so because of your experiences, perhaps you can share with others any what role did like early detection and regular health checkups play with your survival, with your recovery process there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't say early detection played a role because I kept telling them, hey, there's something going on, but they were not listening. And I can't really say choose your doctor by someone that looks like you, because that's really unfair.
So maybe you should say, maybe they should scream, hey, something's wrong. Should they scream to get the doctor's attention? Because you told them
for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself.
There you go.
You have to push until they do hear you. And if that doctor doesn't, get another doctor.
Yes. Yes. That's what I wanted you to say right there. Sometimes you have to be the voice, for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself there. That's very important to do that. And thank goodness that you didn't just, put it off, that you didn't just mention it to one person and then let it go, that you got the message to another doctor and that doctor heard the message there and gave you some direction as well there too. So like I said, there are people listening. They may be in similar situations there. What advice do you have for them, particularly women of color? Not that we are excluding anyone from it, but for me, reading about stats, African-American women are at higher risk of danger from cancer, breast cancer, and dying from breast cancer there. So what advice do you have for women of color regarding advocating for themselves in the healthcare system?
I would say make the decision that is truly best for you, that's in your best interest. I feel with all of the healthcare that I've been through, I feel like doctors are automatically going to make the decision that makes the best for them, which is going to lead to their paycheck, which is going to lead, to them earning more money, more patients, more money. Same with the Food and Drug Administration. You know, I feel like the food that, I don't want to get off on conspiracy theories, but you have to mind what you're putting in your body. You have to mind how you're taking care of your body. And I am not always the best at that. I'm a Southern girl. I love Southern foods.
Good old collard greens and fried chicken.
But when it comes to healthcare, do not be forced to make a quick decision if it's not immediately life threatening. Sometimes you do. I imagine you have to make those quick decisions that are life threatening for you. But if you have the time to really process it, do your research, do your own research, not necessarily what's handed to you, certainly consider that, but make the decision that's best for you and don't be forced. And when they try to force you, speak loudly, speak
Yeah,
boldly.
that's right. Speak up, speak out, and make sure that guys, hey, she's telling you, schedule a mammogram. Make sure that you're getting your annual checks with your primary care doctor. Make sure that you're getting your eyes checked with your local optometrist. Put yourself on your calendar. Some of you with children, sometimes you'll do things and you'll make sure that the children are scheduled for their appointments and you forget to schedule your own appointment. And we want to remind you here, as part of the National Optometric Foundation, that you need to make sure that you get yourself scheduled for your eye exam, for your exam with your primary care doctor. Don't delay, do it today. The National Optometric Foundation, we do these educational webinars to help protect the vision. We want to make sure that we are having speakers on our show sharing wisdom with us there. And so the National Optometric, we have a website. You can learn more about us, www.nationaloptometricfoundation.com. You can see who some of our board members are, look at some of the photos from things that we've done in the past and that we continue to do. You can also go to our YouTube channel. We have webinars similar to this where we've had fabulous guest speakers in the past to share information on other topics, as Joanna is sharing with us tonight. And you can go and see the previous webinars and share this webinar with someone in your family. We're also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so we ask that you go and like our Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation. And we continue to do the things that we're doing because of the generous sponsors and donors. So we want to ask you, if you want to donate to us tonight, we do have a Cash App, and you can send that. We will get that. Our treasurer will have that at $ protecting the vision. We appreciate all of you for what you continue to do, and we thank you for tuning in with us on this episode of Protecting the Vision. So as we continue to talk to Joanna Lowe, we're going to bring her back onto the show there as she continue to tell us about her journey. And I'm also going to check to see, Joanna, if we have any questions from our audience there. But while you're telling us a little bit about how did your support system, we have a support system, and it's important that we have a support system when we're going through things, when we're going through challenges. And I always tell people, when you're going through challenges are not designed to get us down and keep us down. They're there to strengthen us. And that's how we grow. When you're going through those challenges, you're growing. You come out on the other side. And you already mentioned you made it through. Thank God for that. But how did your support system, family, friends, your healthcare providers impact your journey through breast cancer?
I am so amazingly blessed to have had a great support system and still a great support system. It was a little odd for me because I'm always the giver. So it's hard to receive sometimes when you're always the giver. And I'm a pretty tough cookie. So um it's hard for me to let down my guard and let other people in to help. It was during COVID that I had cancer and was going through chemo. I wanted to do all of the chemo sessions by myself. My family wanted to come with me. I was like, look, I'm going to be sitting there for 8 hours. I really don't want to have you sit there for 8 hours. And I just really want to rest. So they honored my wish for that. And I did go to every single chemo by myself, by choice. They wanted to be there. But when it came time for surgeries, I sent out a spreadsheet so people could sign up because I knew a lot of people wanted to help, or at least they said they wanted to help. But my best friend Andre came through and took care of me on the weekend and fed me, made sure I was fed, took me out to get my favorite dessert. My best friend Jerry took care of me during the week, but until Andre could get there. My brother, my daughters, they all helped, and it was amazing to have that kind of help, and it was even more amazing for me to allow them to help because I don't accept help easily. So that was a challenge for me, but I'm so thankful that I did. Outside of the actual physical showing up for me during COVID, I got messages daily. I made sure to um, kind of do a diary, a Facebook diary or a social media diary of my entire journey. So as I was going through it, I would share, what's going on with my body, how I'm feeling, the good and the bad. And so my chemo was every 3 weeks, I would get a chemo treatment. And those treatments lasted about 8 hours. Um, and then before the treatment, I would take a steroid, and that lasted for about 3 days. I took steroids for about 3 days, and that gave me superwoman strength. So I had crazy energy. I already do. I'm very independent, and I run a real estate company. So I would be putting stoves or refrigerators in the back of my Jeep to go to a property. I worked the entire time that I was doing chemo. But then once that steroid wore off, I had zero energy. I would be crawling up the stairs because I couldn't walk up the stairs. I didn't have the energy to make it up the steps, crawling into my bed or just be in bed all day. And during those times, I would always get messages, calls, people checking in on me, and so that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And they helped me to stay positive.
Love that. Love that. Positivity plays a key role when we're going through challenging situations there. That was something that I shared with my mother when she was going through some very challenging times, a few years back. And I'll continue to share that with people there because what do you have to lose? When you're being positive, it's going to help get your mind out of that dark state that it's in and help boost you and give you the encouragement that you need, especially when no one else is around. People need to know that sometimes you have to encourage yourself, with the little bit of energy that you got, just like you crawl up those stairs and made it back into your apartment and you got into your safe place in bed. We have to do those same things when we're facing challenges and we don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. You just got to find some positive thought there first to get you out of that state of confusion or that state of depression that you may be in. Sometimes that's easier said than done. And I myself had to do it as well. I had some dark times that I faced, and I came through it there. And we're here today to share our story, to empower others. And I thank you again for sharing your story and empowering others there. Is there, and Dr. Orso also would like to thank you for sharing your story as well. He gave you a shout out on our YouTube channel there as well as Dr. Whitehead. He said it was his pleasure to be there as one of your supporters there and help take care of you when you're going through. Because you know what? Your day is one day, somebody else's day may be the next day. So for those of you who are listening, when you have the opportunity to be a helping hand to someone else, take that opportunity. Be sure to be there to help them because the help that you're providing for them that day may be the same help that you'll need on tomorrow. So continue to do what you can for others. We continue to do things for each other and work together because we're stronger and we're better together all across America. So we need to stay together despite our differences there and help each other out. All right. I didn't see that coming, but it just came out of me. So I just want to tell you I just want to ask you what is or what was your most memorable part when you're going through your breast cancer journey that you would like to share with us?
Oh, it's something that I miss. I miss the peace of chemo. It's a very weird thing to say, but those 8 hours of getting chemo were very peaceful. And I also because I work a lot. Because I'm
Mhm.
always working, I'm always going, I'm always doing. But for chemo, I had to be still, and they would give me a Benadryl through the IV to help my body receive the medication, and it would put me out within 15 minutes. And just it wasn't necessarily the Benadryl; it's the piece of the full 8 hours. Then I had a moment to sit and think and do nothing, to rest, that I would not give myself on a regular basis. And that same piece carried over. I also used a holistic approach with the scientific approach, scientific treatment. So I did acupuncture, and it's an hour of complete silence, complete stillness, and it was amazing. The-
It's funny listening to you say, I'm just imagining 8 hours of working, which is what we did today, 8 hours of working, and you're there in peace for 8 hours as you're receiving treatment. Um, I used to get on my mom because she would be at the hospital and she was like, son, it feels like vacation because it's so peaceful right now. And I was like, Mom, you're in the hospital. Stop comparing it to vacation. And now just listening to you say that, it just clicked for me because you describe your work schedule on the go all the time, entrepreneur, taking different appliances, loading it into your Jeep, trying to take it to the next location until the steroids wear off. And then you say, hey, it's time to try to get back into bed and sit still. But that treatment time gave you that time that you needed to be able to relax your mind and let your body relax as
yeah.
you're getting that treatment there. So I hope that's helping someone who's listening to this there because it just clicked for me.
Yeah.
The importance of us just keeping still, just to be still and to take in that peace, that meditation time there as well. So
Mhm.
in that room that you were in, for us who haven't been there, were you alone, or were there other people there with treatment, getting treatment as well?
There were other people there, but I will say at my facility, it was a beautiful view. We were on the top floor, all glass windows overlooking the city of Charlotte, and it was nice and quiet. It was comfortable. The seats, the chairs had massagers on them and heat. And I would bring my laptop just in case I felt like working. I would bring my headphones. Everyone had their own TV, even though it's still open space. Everyone had their own TV, and I would dress up for it. It was like I was going on a date with King. I would wear my high heels and my
Wow.
my cute scarves because I didn't have hair, but I would dress it up for chemo because I loved the piece of it. I
Wow.
didn't like that I had to go to chemo, but I liked the piece of being there and being forced to be still.
I love the fact that everything you're saying is transforming the mind.
Mhm.
You're getting the mind state um, where it needs to be there as you're going through that challenge there. Wow. Let's see what he said. Oh, yeah. Dr. Whitehead said, only you, Joe. So I know at the end I'm going to ask you, any words of inspiration, encouragement that you have to leave there. But I just want to dive back into you being in that room or you going through these treatments, the emotional part, the mental aspects of surviving breast cancer there and how you manage those things there. Can you just speak a little bit about that for our listening audience there? I think that would help someone if you talk about that.
It was definitely a roller coaster. I mean, I mentioned the piece of the actual treatment, and I love that part. But then there were the times when weird things would happen to my body. I don't want to be I don't want to be TMI, but my
Mhm.
first symptom after my first chemo treatment, I wasn't sure what to expect. I'd had the steroids, so I felt amazing. But then when the steroids wore off, It's laughable, but at the time, I thought I was going to die from jockage.
Oh my
Something
God.
something completely not related to cancer, but your body is shutting down from this chemo. That's how much it's killing you. That every little thing can infect you. Every little thing can take over your body. I really thought I was going to die from it. It was awful. It was awful. And then the stomach issues, of course, because I had the steroids, that was minimal, but it would be a full day of stomach issues, and there was no warning, there was no nausea, it was just blah, just anywhere. And there was no warning, so it wasn't even like, oh, I think I'm gonna throw up. No, you just throw up. And
Okay.
so it was the emotional roller coaster of yay, I feel amazing, I can do anything on the steroids until till oh my gosh, I don't even know if I will open my eyes tomorrow. The next the next day when the steroids wore off. And then back to okay, I feel normal and now it's time for chemo again. I was running. I was doing like 3 miles regularly on my good days, still running, still being active. And then the emotional depression, I'll say, that comes with having a bald head and no eyebrows and no eyelashes. I made the bald head work, but once I lost my eyebrows, I felt like a monster. I felt like I looked like a monster, and I looked very abnormal. And I would draw on the eyebrows, but I couldn't do the eyelashes. So I still looked very strange to myself in the mirror. And then when when I stopped the first round of chemo, I had like a 3 week period before I had to go into surgery and then start the next round of chemo. And I asked my other best friend Jerry um, if we could go to Aruba. So we went to Aruba on my break amidst COVID during COVID, and we had a good time. I still had some stomach issues there. I was still bald headed. We did all of the adventures. She just loved on me so good and
Wow.
just made me feel normal and just let me be whoever I was in that moment. And
Wow.
then I had to go into surgery, and then I lost my breast. I had a double mastectomy. I chose to have a double mastectomy, although only one side was affected. I just didn't. I
Okay.
knew I would never want to go through it again.
Yeah.
So that wasn't having them completely removed was a shock to look at first, and then I started getting the fill-ins where they blow the skin up because they cut your skin off. Now they have to stretch your skin to fit the implants. Oh, I was feeling myself. I was I was strutting and showing all the cleavage I had. So, it's not like well, I regained my confidence. It wasn't any new confidence. I still went back with the same size that I had before, but they were a perkier set and almost indestructible. But it was it was just a roller coaster of things. And now looking back on it, sometimes I forget that I even had cancer. I feel so normal. Like, did that really happen in my life? Was that my life?
You look great. I
Thank
mean, thank God you don't look like what you've been through. You look fabulous.
thank
I'm like, I keep looking at you like, did she really go through all of this? I'm like, man, you can't tell by looking at you and your personality and your spirit is such a sweet spirit.
you.
And I think that because of who you are, it helped pull you through this most challenging time in your life there. And I can only imagine that you were thinking about, fighting for your family. I don't know if your children were around at the time there, but fighting for your children. there, and all of the things that you had to live for. I want to tell people, look at the things that you have, that you continue to live for, and let that be your strength to fight as you're going through these challenges there. And you did a great job, and you look terrific. So anytime you get that feeling where you just want to take your march, you march on and march, and you march it well, because you deserve to do that. That's your march of victory there, and I think you should celebrate. Find a time to just always celebrate you there. I would encourage people who are listening, find time to celebrate you. Don't just go through that challenge and say, well, I made it. Celebrate it like a birthday.
Yeah.
Find that date and just celebrate. If you want to go to Aruba again, if you want to go to Hawaii, take that trip. Take a friend that knows how to celebrate. So with you, yeah, and just do those things. And because it's important. It's important. And we're going to wrap it up, I promise there. But your experience with breast cancer, I'm sure, has influenced how you view the healthcare system there, and just about being an advocate for yourself. And you've talked about those things. Is there anything additional that you want to add when it comes to your view on the healthcare system and advocating for yourself?
Yeah, I have many views about the healthcare system. Many, many different views. I I feel like it's definitely. I'm trying to find the words. It's a money game. The price of health is enormous, and if you could pay it on the front end and avoid the bill on the back end, if you could take care of your body on the front end, eat the right things, do the right things,
Yeah.
I think it will force the cost of healthcare to go down. I do think it's definitely extremely inflated. One chemo treatment, every one chemo treatment was $40,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had probably about 20 of those. And that's just the chemo treatments. That's not the visits to the doctor. That's not the lab work. That's not the surgery.
Just
That's
the
not
truth.
the surgery for the implant to get your chemo. That's just sitting in that chair and getting the medicine ran through your body.
It's very expensive.
Very expensive. Very expensive. And I always think that insurance is just a scam. And in some parts, maybe it is. But if that's what one chemo treatment cost me and I did not have insurance, I I would never have gotten chemo and I may not be here today.
Wow. Wow. Big statement.
Mhm.
Big statement there. And thank you for being so transparent and sharing this information. I do believe uh, your story is helping someone today. I do believe we may hear about it later. They may reach out to us. They may even message you, because you can tell people, if you have social media pages, how they can follow you and everything like that too. But thank you for sharing this information. And as you leave us tonight, what would you like to leave with the audience? Anything about resilience, about hope, the importance of health awareness, get in check, and speaking up, any of those words that you would like to leave. That's my final question to you.
Oh, there's so many things I like to leave. One is my number one is make your health your priority up front. We can avoid so much if we do so little up front. I am not one to stick to work out 3 to 5 times a week. I don't. I know the benefits of it when I don't do it. uh, Another is take the time to heal. Your body needs the time to rest and heal. Rest is extremely important.
Yes, it is.
And so give your body that rest. Work will always be there. Your body is not going to always be there. So you just got to make sure that it can last so you can enjoy the good times. The work is going to be there. You can work anywhere at any time, but take the time for your body to rest and heal itself. I do believe the body has the power to heal most things that come against it if you give it the nutrients it needs, the rest that it needs to do its job.
Exactly.
And then, as far as resilience, I guess you have to just set your sights on what it is you want out of life. Because honestly, I could have chosen not to do the treatment and personally been fine with whatever came next. I do have goals for my children, and I had one school age child at that time. And so I knew that I needed to be there for her, and I wanted to be there for my granddaughter. I needed to be there for my school age child, but I wanted to be there for my granddaughter. And those were things that helped me to actually make the decision to do the treatment. So, knowing what your goals are, what your purpose is in life, and putting that at the center of your decisions will help you to make the right decisions, I would say, almost every time.
Everybody's experience and their journey, it will be different, and they will have to do, as you say, evaluate, and make that decision accordingly there. So
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you made the choice and that you are here with us and that you continue to shine bright like a diamond. And I want you to continue to do all that you can as you're going through your entrepreneurial journey as well there in real estate. My daughter actually want to go and do the same thing. So
Nice.
perhaps I can bring her so she can shadow you
Mm,
one day with your journey there as a real estate agent there as well. So
absolutely.
continue to do what you're doing because you're inspiring people, whether you know it or not. There, you're helping to lift people up there. And thank you for sharing this beautiful story. The National Optometric Foundation appreciates you for being on our webinar, and we hope that in 2025, perhaps we can bring you back to share with us again on a different topic there. And we wish you well. Thank you so much. And if you would like to have any final words, if you have a social media page, Instagram, TikTok, that you're doing some inspiration or you're sharing some information about your real estate, you can do so at this time.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Facebook as Joanna Lowe. You can find me on Instagram as Joanna underscore the favored one. Uh, and my company is Remnant Real Estate Solutions. We buy homes of all kinds, as is condition, and we also use private funds to buy those deals. So we're always looking for private money lenders to help you grow your funds secured with real estate.
Excellent. That's good. A good pillar for the community. Thank you again for being on the show. And we hope to see you and we see you again on one of our shows in 2025. And we wish you well. Thank you so much. You guys give her some love in the comment section. Joanna Lowe, thank you so much. And I'm going ahead to close out the show here. Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
being on
having
with
me.
me. There you go, folks. Another fabulous episode from a fabulous guest speaker, protecting the vision, as she shared her journey going through breast cancer there and the challenges that she faced, but she made it through. And also, guys, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we want to give a salute and a shout out to all of our breast cancer survivors. We want to thank you guys for continuing to fight. We want to thank all of you who are out there supporting our breast cancer survivors. Wear your shirts, wear your bracelets. Let them know that we love them and we will continue to support them along this journey here. The National Optometric Foundation would like for you to go to our website to learn more about us. We have a website, nationaloptometricfoundation.com, where you can learn more about us. We also have a YouTube channel where you can get this webinar as well as the webinars we've done in the past. We're on Facebook as well. We have a Facebook page that you can go and like under the same name, National Optometric Foundation. And if you would like to donate, again, it's $ Protecting the Vision. We appreciate you for tuning in, and we thank you all for being supportive to this nonprofit organization. And we thank the National Optometric Association for their support. We're one big family, teamwork, working together to make an impact and helping to bring more care to our underrepresented minority communities. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown, NOF board member, and I'll see you guys on our next webinar. Have a great evening.